I'm Mishima Yuki, and you're listening to the Giant Sword Podcast, home of the second biggest group of Phantom Thieves ever. The first being me. Keck.
Hello, and welcome to this week's Giant Sword Podcast. I'm your party leader, Nick. Joining me, as always, is Taylor. Taylor!
Nick!
What up?
Oh, trying to just survive this thing we call life.
Yes, it's yeah, I know that feeling. I bet you everyone was wondering where we've been. Not you, but we've. Because it's been like 3 weeks since we last did a podcast.
Oh, has it? Oops.
Yep. Well, it's
Sorry.
Life gets in the way sometimes. I had inventory like a week and a half ago, and that's really messed my schedule up. Really messed. Yeah, it's messed me up. And then you've been busy, so it's been hard to get together. But hey, I didn't even know that there was a Nintendo Direct. This you know what I'm talking about today.
Or yesterday, depending on when you're watching this.
And had no expectations, and holy crap, that was one hell of a conference.
It was. I'm kind of with you. I have really taken the Nick approach to never getting hyped for stuff anymore, and it works out surprisingly well because everybody's like, Breath of the Wild 2, Bayonetta 3, Mario Kart 9. It's like, guys, this never happens. Why do you get your hopes up so high? I'm going to go in, I'm like, they're probably going to talk about Triangle Strategy, Splatoon 3, and then a bunch of crap.
Yep.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's what it's like. Speaking of Triangle Strategy, I'm downloading the demo right now, so I'm gonna play that because they said you can play up to the third chapter. Either the chapters are very short, or that's a big demo.
Or they're very confident in that game.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So I'm gonna mess with that.
Nice.
Before we get into the JRPG news, which there was a lot of, so I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who are like, man, that direct sucked. That's an awful direct. That was nothing. And we're like, it's good. Yes, it's good.
Did you see my tweet that I put out?
No, I haven't been on Twitter.
So have you seen that meme? It's the Hank guy from Breaking Bad where he's like side by side. So I was like JRPG fans and then general Nintendo fans.
But they should be happy, maybe because Mario Strikers out of nowhere, which I've always said, like, I really want another Mario Strikers game because Strikers was fun. It's fun because it's like an arcade soccer game, and that's fun. And then
here's the real question, Nick: when are we getting another Mega Man Soccer?
Never, because Mega Man doesn't exist anymore in the hearts of Mega Man. Only exists in the hearts of us, of its fans.
In our memories.
It's because it's problematic. It's Mega Man and no one. You can't be Mega Man anymore. Got to be Mega Person or Mega Z or Zer. Mega Zer.
Oh god.
Yeah, and another one that was fun is Switch Sports, which is like Wii Sports, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's just stupid casual crap. It's like, it's fun. Those games were fun, and I have very fond memories playing those with friends. So it's gonna be a good time playing with those.
And then eventually we're just gonna get a whole new Mario Kart because they're remastering 48 tracks, which is crazy.
No. Okay, so Kimpy said that he wanted Mario Kart 9 when I asked what do you want from this Nintendo Direct, and he's like, Mario Kart 9, and he was in chat with us. And he was like, well, that blows Mario Kart 9 out of the water. That's never going to happen for a long time. And that's when we just thought it was going to be 8 tracks. And then they're like, 48 tracks over the next 2 years. Like, what? That's crazy. 48 tracks.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. Is it going to be $24 each round, or is it $24 total?
I think it's total.
Yeah, that's a great deal if that is true.
Yeah. Or it said if you're the Nintendo online expansion pass subscriber, you just get it for free.
That's great.
Yeah, so everybody's like,
no,
man,
sorry, it's not great because the expansion pass is BS. But hey, it's an added benefit if you really want that.
yeah.
Okay, so let's actually get into the crazy news of craziness.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna completely ignore this because. Oh wait, before we get into that, I'm an idiot, and let me get this up. I asked what people wanted from this direct. As can be said, he won Mario Kart 9. Josiah Otaku said that he wanted Chrono Cross and Fire Emblem, and FFT ports. I was actually really close. I'm like, okay, here's collections and remasters. Is Final Fantasy Tactics gonna appear? Because
I know that was my hope.
A lot of those NVIDIA leaks, all of them are coming true. So I'm waiting. Pigeon Senpai said Xenoblade 3 and Bayonetta 3. Well, I did not expect Xenoblade 3. But, Mecha Otaku Gamer asks, I'm looking forward to seeing any announcements on Xenoblade 3, Astral Chain 2, maybe Star Ocean's second evolution port to Switch. New Mario Bayonetta 3 trailer. But hey, another Xenoblade 3 guy. Spaghetti says Xenoblade 3 or X Remasters with quality of life changes. Another Xenoblade 3. Why did everyone say Xenoblade 3? Was there
yeah, I was just about to ask, were there rumors? Because I didn't hear anything.
I think there was. WCB says more Fire Emblem and Xenoblade games. We got both of those. And how about FF Pixel remasters all in one cart? The Return of Golden Sun, New Metroid. Okay, this guy. A lot of dreaming here. Maybe we'll probably maybe get some Golden Sun, more Metroid, Zelda Wii U. All Day Wong says, I want it all. Everything we expect in 2022, at least the teasers, with some Fire Emblem and Xenoblade splashed in. He got his wish. My expectations are way too high, but it's all part of the excitement. Your expectations were met. Let's just say that.
Yep.
All right, so now let's go to the first part of news. Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Two game franchise and a game that I do not care anything for combined into one. I don't care. I really don't care. But you do, and I am going to read what they say about it. Okay. Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude, and other Fire Emblem 3 Houses characters return to put their combat expertise on display as you revisit a war-torn Is that Fodlan?
Yeah, Fodlan, yeah.
Unleash devastating combos, strike special moves, action. Okay, it's a freaking Muso game. Cut through hordes of... Yeah, Muso game. It doesn't say... Yeah, no information on that. So, do you is this supposed this story? Is this supposed to be like a sequel like Persona 5 Strikers was? What's it called?
That's
Strikers?
A great question, because in Fire Emblem 3 Houses, there's basically, I think there's technically 4 endings, and they're all very different, and some, depending on which path you choose, some of these characters die. So I'm not sure if this is like an alternate 5th route, or if they're gonna pick a route that's canon, or this is just made up because we need a spin-off. I don't know.
Probably a little column A, a little column B.
Yeah. Yep.
But you super excited? Were you like, yes, more Fire Emblem? Or
yeah. Well, as soon as the trailer started playing, I knew it was Fire Emblem. I was just like, I didn't think it was gonna be a Warriors game. But I'm excited. I said this on Twitter. Fire Emblem Warriors, the first one, is like by far my most played Switch game. So I'm really excited for this. I know people are like, oh, the clones, they're gonna just have so many clone characters. Whatever, I don't care. It was fun. I loved Fire Emblem Warriors. So I'm excited for this one. Hopefully it runs better than what the heck was that called? The Zelda
one?
Or Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity that ran so bad on Switch.
Okay, so sorry for interrupting you.
No, it's okay.
I was gonna say, speaking of that game, this seems like it's akin to that Like it's a smaller sequel. So are you a little worried about that? Because I know you didn't like you liked the original Hyrule Warriors, but you didn't like the sequel that much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't like it because they basically lied. They're like, it's a sequel to Breath of the Wild. No, it wasn't. It was not.
Okay.
I mean, it was like that was literally an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that was frustrating. But also it ran bad, and there was really only 3 fun characters. So I just ended up using the same characters over and over again. But in 3 houses, there's a lot of characters between the 3 houses and the villains and stuff. So the roster is potentially really big. So I'll be very curious to see who they add, who's playable. But I can see this being another 100-hour game for me. Just another mindless, let me turn my brain off type of game.
Yeah.
I love warrior games. There's just, I don't know what it is. It's just fun to mow down hundreds of guys, turn your brain off, and they always have like rock and guitar music to it, so it's like a total Taylor game. So
I think you like the new modern Musou games because you weren't into them back in the day, and also they're now IPs that you like. They're using IPs that you like.
I think that's the key. I think if most people probably don't like warrior games, but if it's a franchise, like you said, or an IP that people care about, then I think it really changes things. Because you're right. I tried playing a couple Dynasty Warriors games, and I don't care. I'm like, I don't know who these characters are.
Do you remember the Dragon Quest one? You didn't get into that.
Yeah, even I didn't. That one felt slow. That one's like a mix between a Warriors game and like a tower defense game. It's very different. Well, not very, but it's fairly different compared to the other ones. But yeah, Fire Emblem Warriors was great. Samurai Warriors, Persona 5 Strikers is like borderline not one of those types of games. Just because the levels are structured like a typical palace, or they call them, I think, prisons in Strikers. But yeah, that's like it's a totally different beast.
I got that game for PlayStation Plus, so it's in my library.
Nice. Yeah, you should try it. It's fun. But yeah, excited about that. And then that's what I was saying on Twitter too. I'm like, of all the games that got announced, I'm probably gonna end up liking that one the best. So that's the one I'm most excited about.
This is the Fire Emblem Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming out June 24th. So all these games and these Nintendo Directs are coming out this year. This is really cool.
Shocking.
So let's just move on to the next topic, which completely out of nowhere. Front Mission 1 or Front Mission First Remake and Front Mission 2 Remake announced for Switch. Let me read about it. Forever Entertainment has announced Front Mission First Remake and Front Mission 2 Remake for Switch. Front Mission First Remake will launch this summer, followed by the sequel at a later date. Both will support English, Japanese, all the other languages. Here's an overview of Front Mission. About in the year 2090, the world's conflicts are fought against giant war machines called Wanzers. Huffman Island, the only place where the Oceania Cooperative Union and the United Continental States, oh man, this is the same thing in Front Mission 3, share a land border in a hotbed of conflict. An OCU, I can't talk right now, guys. I'm sorry.
That's a word.
I'm gonna with dozens of characters to meet, its mature story and non-Manichean protagonist. Front Mission is a classic of a tactical JRPG genre, finally available worldwide. Key features. Front Mission comes back as a remake. The game features a modern mode with improved controls. A legendary sidetrack is completely reorchestrated.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so funny thing. I was playing Front Mission 3 before the Direct.
Oh, really?
So I've been playing Front Mission 3 off and on, and I was just playing it like for the last 2 hours before the Direct started. And we're just hanging out. I was Asian and I in the Discord, and this comes on, and the first thing that says like Wanzers are on the battlefield or something like that. And I'm like, Wanzers? Front Mission? What?
So random.
It was like completely out of nowhere. So so at first it looked really cool, and then I saw the gameplay, and I did not like how the battles looked, or the the actual shooting animations looked weird, like not complete. The graphics themselves are fine, but it didn't look complete to me, and I hope they, especially compared to the PS1 versions where the animations are all like really intense or look way more intense than what we see here. So hopefully they fix that. But I'm excited. I'm like, ooh, Front Mission, more strategy RPGs. That's awesome. Maybe we'll get another one. Maybe we'll get a Front Mission 5. Yeah. Or the Remake 3. That would be cool.
3, I think, is the most popular one. So,
well, 3 is on PS1, and then 4 is on PS2. And then we had Evolved, which no one wants to talk about that.
Yeah. That's like basically an Armored Core game, isn't it?
No, it's more like a third-person shooter.
Right, as opposed to a strategy game. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean like akin to what's it called? Gears of War. It was like one of those type of games, and I was like, this doesn't feel like, this is weird, and it just didn't feel right, and it wasn't well made.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, that's fun. Would you want to play this? It's a strategy RPG.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. I mean, I gotta be frank, I've never played a Front Mission game, but I'd be down to give it a go. So I know it's pretty beloved, and I love strategy RPGs. So
Front Mission 3 is very not like during the off times. It's very menu heavy. There's so many menus, and it's kind of crazy. You can actually go onto the internet of that game, and it's just like menu after menu after menu and menu going through all this stuff. And it's weird. It's pretty overwhelming. But the game itself is fun. I love how it doesn't have like you could destroy body parts of the Wanzers and everything.
That's cool.
So, I'm really I'm gonna beat Front Mission 3, but this is cool. Completely out of nowhere announcement, and was very happy of it from it appearing. I'm hoping it's not only on the Switch though.
I'm sure it won't be. A lot of the other games that got announced, I mean, it was obviously announced at the Direct, but they got confirmed later to be coming to other things, which it
hasn't confirmed here. It just says the Switch, so hopefully it grows on, goes into other ones. But the next announcement, finally, Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers Edition, announced for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. It is a remaster, not a remake. How do you feel about that?
I'll blame myself on that one. I mean, if you looked at the NVIDIA leak, it was a remaster. It didn't say remake, but there were all these other things, like the composer was making music and stuff, and there were rumors of a PlayStation franchise remake, which we still don't know. Whatever they were talking about, we still don't know what that is.
Yeah, we'll get to see that soon.
But yeah, I mean, I'm watching the footage right now, and it looks great. I mean, really crisp text, really, it's 60. I think it's 60 frames. Not that it really matters for a turn-based RPG, but yeah, it looks crisp and it looks great.
So here's an overview of the game via Square Enix. Players will embark on an epic adventure that transcends time and space, with refined illustrations from the original character designer Nobutaro Yuki, remastered music from the acclaimed composer Yasunori Mitsuda, which is what he was working on, is that he's remastering them, and a variety of additional features. Chrono Cross, which was never released in Europe, which is interesting. I did not know that.
Really? I didn't know that either, huh?
Returns as a remaster in Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers Edition. Follow the story of Surge, who stumbles into another world and learns of the connections between his existence and the future of his planet. A classic time-bending tale of adventure and friendship, featuring one of the largest and most diverse cast of playable characters of any RPG, with over 40 potential party members. Each character brings their own element, affinity, unique skills. Additionally, Radical Dreamers La Tresor Interdit, a text-based adventure game released for Satellaview in 1996, which forms the bedrock of the story, is also included in this edition.
And
Players
that's pretty. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying
I
the
thought you were
players
done.
can look forward to some new exciting features as 3 models converted to HD, brand new artwork and character redesign by Nobuteru Yuki, refined background music by Yosunari Mitsuda, switch enemy encounters on and off,
Mm.
background filter feature, battle enhancement features, auto battle function, a bunch of languages, switch between imitation pixel font and the HD font, inclusion of Radical Dreamers. Players can choose between playing with the original or updated graphics.
Cool.
So if you know, there's a lot of screenshots on Gematsu, and you can see the difference between the character models. There are definitely new models and new artwork, so you could totally see that. The original, like the new models are skinnier and more refined, and then of course the PS1 ones are the more polygonal ones. But it looks exactly like how it runs on my emulator, which is really funny.
Okay.
But not the new models, by the way. And I like how the character art is updated, so it's not all pixely. So I'm happy about that.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, it does have. It has comparisons.
Yeah.
Oh, and they redid the portrait art.
Yeah, the
I'm
portrait
looking
art
at
is completely different. It's different too.
Interesting. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off earlier, but I think the thing that's really exciting about this port is that we're getting Radical Dreamers, which I don't think the West period ever got.
Yeah, I don't think it
At
does.
least I don't. Yeah, I mean, of course, modders and translators found a way or whatever, but yeah, I don't think I don't think we've ever got this, which is it's cool. So
Yeah, a lot of
very
people.
exciting.
The up-res backgrounds, I kind of don't like the look because it's the muddied AI enhanced look, which you see in the trailer. You see it, and I'm like, okay, I get why they do that, but it's not blurry anymore, but it's blurred and it looks like So
Yeah, I saw it. I agree. It doesn't look amazing, but it's
a thing.
it's fine. We can live with it, I guess.
I want to hear the new soundtrack. How could they make a brilliant masterpiece even better?
How do you improve on perfection?
Exactly, right? How do you improve on perfection? A lot of people do not like this game, actually. I am surprised about how many people don't like it.
Here's my take. I think it's because they wanted a sequel to Chrono Trigger, which it sort of is and it sort of isn't.
It's connected to the world. It is connected.
Chrono is like actually in the game.
Yeah.
And
the princess is also in the game.
Yeah. I mean, there's like this whole section where you're going to like this. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like some time space anomaly thing, and it really has Chrono Trigger stuff like front and center. But yeah, you're never gonna. There's just some people you're not gonna make happy, and that's okay.
Yep. I bet you didn't know this. Speaking of Chrono Trigger, I beat that recently.
Chrono Trigger? Oh,
Yeah.
really? Which version?
The DS version.
Okay, yeah, that's the best one from what I hear.
Because I started on the PS1 version and I was like going through it. I'm like, something's off here. Something's very off, and I don't like it. And then I realized that there's loading in between like every menu, and like battle, and like transition to like different rooms, and I'm like, it's like a slight 1 second delay or something, and you just notice it, and you're like, oh, this is awful. And I read online, it's like, yeah, that has that delay. So I'm like, okay, DS version. And I got the DS version.
Smart. It's smart.
And I made it look all nice and crispy and emulators. I love it.
Nice.
But yeah, this actually made me interested in replaying Chrono Cross. I actually loaded it up and started messing around with it. And I'm like, you know what? There's probably going to be that remaster remake thing's probably going to be announced soon. Look at right here. There you go. We're announced. And now everyone's gonna have an easier time to play instead of finding a physical copy for like $5,000. So,
Yep.
or you just buy it on the PSN store, guys, for $5 and put on your Vita, which every JRPGer should have is a Vita.
Exactly.
So Taylor, here it is. It's real. You can be happy. New art. It's great.
I gotta say, the person who was most happy was B Cops.
Really?
So, oh yeah, he messaged me after.
He's freaking out.
Oh yeah, that's his favorite game, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I didn't notice until just like a few minutes ago that they had new character portrait art. So that's cool. And then obviously like other typical remaster enhancements. So yeah, I think it'll be cool. It'll be cool. But here's the other thing, and somebody pointed this out on Twitter, that everything from that Nvidia leak is becoming real. So next we're gonna get Final Fantasy Tactics, and I think you mentioned that earlier. And then after that, there was a Final Fantasy IX remake on that list. So we could be getting a Final Fantasy IX remake.
Is it going to be a remake or is it going to be a remaster?
No, it said remake. I will admit that I kind of got hyped a little too much for Chrono Cross. Chrono Cross did say remaster, and same thing with Final Fantasy Tactics. But Final Fantasy IX is remake. So,
do you believe that though? Because they said they weren't able to remake Final Fantasy VII like originally because it would take too long. But now they're gonna remake 9.
I think they're full of crap.
They're probably
I think because 9 is more cartoony, I think they can get away with just having it be the same game with better graphics. And I think people wanted that with 7, but I think Square, obviously they just couldn't help themselves. They wanted to do more with it. But I think 9 is going to be more like some enhancements here and there, but it's just going to be straight up the same game with better graphics. I don't think they're going to do what they did with 7 Remake and get all nuts and add all these new things. I don't think they're going to do that.
Make it hyper realistic.
Yeah, and that's just not that game. That game is so cartoony. But the other reason I think it's real is because I couldn't tell you the company, but there's some company that's doing a Final Fantasy IX animated series, which is so random. It's like, why would you do a Final Fantasy IX animated series now? That is so out of the blue. So to me, for those two to kind of sync up at the same time, to me says that there is going to be a 9 remake. We probably won't see it till next year. But I think it's happening for sure.
That'll be cool to see. Chrono Cross is actually supposed to be coming out in April 7th. Very soon. Yeah,
that's soon. I was very surprised, but I mean, yeah, it's not that it's if it was a remake, it would probably be, it'd have to take longer. But hey,
right.
I'm excited. Have you ever beat Chrono Cross?
No. I don't know how far I got. I got pretty far. I got to the time distortion area. I've been there, but I didn't get. I think that was like after that. That's when I stopped.
Got it.
I need to replay. I was gonna replay it, but now this is out. So I'll play this, and I'll be able to compare.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So, Live Alive HD 2D remake announced for Switch, due out on July 22nd. So, never heard of this game. Square Enix has announced a remake of the September 2nd, 1994 release Super Famicom title Live Alive for the Switch. It will launch July 22nd worldwide, and Nintendo will publish the game in the West. Previously unreleased outside of Japan, the JRPG game Live Alive is releasing on the Nintendo Switch in the HD 2D style. Everyone loves this style. 7 different stories featuring different protagonists, time periods, and gameplay styles. In the Wild West, a wanderer with a bounty on his head for fighting for his life. In the twilight of Edo, Japan, a shinobi undertakes a secret mission. Experience these tales in any order you choose. The adventure is yours to control. What other stories will you uncover on the horizon? So, Octopath's Traveler. That's what it sounds like, huh? Except I don't
Basically,
think they might. I've never played this game. So you play a bunch of different stories and maybe they converge at the end. But they says it has different gameplay styles for each game. So that's interesting to see here.
Yeah. I've heard of this game, but I had no idea what it was. But yeah, I'm watching the trailer right now and it looks great.
Yeah, it looks that design that it's the 3D with the pixel art, man. That's more games need to do that. 3D backgrounds with pixel art characters.
I mean, they are just pumping these games out. It's crazy.
Yeah, they don't need to look like this, but you know, that style of 2D characters with 3D backgrounds, great.
Oh yeah, there's something to that. It just goes well together.
But this is very interesting. It's like, yeah, I was like, ooh, it's Chrono Cross. Because different time periods and everything, or Chrono Trigger. So I'm very interested in this game. This will be fun to play. Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to be. It is a Super Nintendo game, so it's probably going to be as long as Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, so like 20-ish hours, something like that, probably.
This summer is getting packed.
Sure is. There's a lot of stuff coming out.
So this is really cool. I didn't. Did they announce the release date for Triangle Strategy?
Yeah, March 4th, I think.
Oh, yeah, so it's in the compared to last year where I only bought a Rise. I'm buying something like every month this year. It's crazy.
Well, this is, I mean, there were so many games that got delayed last year, so this is like all the COVID delayed games are just like everything comes out this year.
And it's also crazy because I know there's a lot more announcements throughout the year, and it's gonna be hopefully we get more fighting stuff. So
Persona 5 Arena.
No, what I really want to see is Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. And they said they're going to show it, but they joked. They're like, "Oh, we'll try to show you." So it's like, no, you're going to show it this year. You're not going to spend another 5 years for a sequel.
I mean, the whole point of them doing it episodically was so they could get them out faster. So
yeah, so annoying, but as long as they keep the quality of the first one, it's gonna be great.
Yep.
All right. So the last piece of big news, which is from out of nowhere, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 announced for the Switch, and it's coming out in September. WTF. Publisher Nintendo and developer Monolith Soft have announced action RPG Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for the Switch will launch in September. Here is an overview of the game. A vast world awaits in Xenoblade Chronicles 3, the next game in the acclaimed RPG series from developer Monolith Soft. Players will step into the roles of the protagonists Noah and Mio, amid turmoil between the hostile nations of Kiev and Agnes. 6 characters hailing from those nations will take part in the grand tale with life as its central theme. Explore a new world that will connect the futures of both Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, launching for the Nintendo Switch in September. There's a message directly from the executive director Tetsuya Takahashi. If you want me to read that.
I saw that. It's a little long, but I mean,
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, it's a little long.
It's cool. So it looks like you've played Xenoblade Chronicles 2. You beat it. Have you beat it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you beat it.
Uh-huh.
And have you beat the first one?
I beat the remaster or the remake or whatever.
Yeah. So you got the endings of both of them. So apparently this is gonna take place after those 2 endings. and you all know what happens in those two endings.
Yeah.
So when I first saw that, I'm like, okay. When I first saw this, the trailer, I'm like, hey, what the heck? It's the Monado and the Mechon. It looked like the Mechon.
Yeah.
And then you see someone who looks like Nia, and I'm like, what's going on here? And it looks like it's those two worlds combining. So it's like, oh, that's cool. And they kind of acknowledge that that's what's happening. So
yeah, that's interesting. I gotta be honest. I mean, it was time for another one. I wasn't expecting it so soon, but hey, they're not messing around over there at Monolith,
Yep. Here's from one of the things. The key visual features a broken greatsword of the Mechonis. There it is. And the body of the Urayan Titan with a gaping wound. So, aren't the big things, the big islands called Titans in Xenoblade Chronicles 2?
Yeah, I think they're called Titans. Yeah.
All right, so the Mechonis and a Titan's fighting. That's interesting.
Interesting.
What is this visual hinting at? I can't reveal that just yet. What I can tell you is that the visual was conceived quite some time ago. More precisely speaking, we came up with it sometime between the end of development of Xenoblade Chronicles and the beginning of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's not something we recently added to the series. So they had this idea in mind. Does this mean that we're going to get sexy blades again? Are blades going to make a comeback?
God, I hope not. Or if they do, I hope it's like I really think they found their groove in Torn of the Golden Country. I think that combat is the way to go. Like each one has one set blade, and that combat just evolves from there, and you can swap in real time. I like that combat system way better than base Xenoblade 2, but that's just me.
Let me see. And there you go. The music is composed by Yasunori Mitsuda. This guy's busy.
He sure is.
So we're going to get some good music from this game as well.
Heck yeah.
The flute is actually one of the key themes in the game, so of course, a lot of flute in this. Oh, cool. Yeah. This sound is. I don't know. Okay, so out of the two, which one did you enjoy more? Not the Torna of Golden Country, just out of the first two that you played.
Probably one. Two's combat system was like it was a little overly complicated. I didn't think 2 looked as good. And yeah, to me, 2 just felt over designed in like every possible way. It was just too complicated for its own good. So, yeah, I would say 1 is better. It's a little simpler. It's definitely shorter, especially the remastered version. And I think the story is a little bit better. I like the characters more. Yeah, so I would say 1.
1.
What about you?
I don't know. I really don't know. I enjoyed both of them. As long as they make the open world not empty and fun to go around. It looks like it's gonna look more like 2. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, it looks like a mix between 1 and 2. It seems like it has the faces from the remastered Xenoblade 1. And I think that looks like visually that looks good. And then yeah, the world looks like 2. 2, I remember watching you play 2, and it looked really pixely. Like it looked really bad. At least in handheld mode. Yeah. So I'm hoping by now Monolith has kind of found their groove and they're able to get the power they want out of the Switch. So yeah, no, I mean it looks.
So you got to play this not in handheld mode.
Yeah, no, for sure. I got to play it on a big screen. Yep.
Now, for a series that needs to go onto, the PC, this is one of them. This needs to go on the PC. So bad. I would replay 1 and 2 if it was on the PC. So I'm looking forward to seeing more on this game. I can't wait to see more. So that was the final thing. Wait, was that the final thing? That was the final thing, right? They showed?
Yeah, no, that was it.
Yeah. I was surprised they didn't show Rune Factory 5.
Yeah.
Because it was supposed to be coming out. It's supposed to be coming out in March, right? This year. March or February.
What?
Rune Factory 5 is coming out this year.
Yeah, March, yeah.
In March. So I was surprised about that. What else would you want to have seen?
I think we both were kind of secretly hoping, but not really expecting something with Final Fantasy Tactics.
I don't think that would be feasible because of triangle strategy.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. They're probably going to want that game to breathe, release, and then it's time to drop the Megaton.
the goat.
Yes. I almost wonder if on the back end somewhere they're cooking something, because not only are there rumors that there's going to be a remaster, but then they just announced those figures. Did you see those figures?
I have pre-ordered every single one of them.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
You know what's funny? I don't know if you sent them this, but my brother sent me links to those figures.
Really?
And wow. I was like, already pre-ordered.
Wow, if Brian's getting them, then.
Well, Brian, I don't think Brian's gonna get them, but he's told me about them. I'm like, yeah, they looked good. Yeah. They look really cool, and those are characters I would definitely want figures for.
Totally. Yeah, Grias, Delita, and Ramza. Yeah, no, those looked really great.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it could be in the cards in the next year. But you're right. I think they got to get Triangle Strategy out first, and then.
Well, I meant for Nintendo. I bet you Square Enix can. Wait, is Square Enix making? No, are they? No, that's Monolith's author, right? Monolith making Triangle Strategy. It's not Square Enix.
No, it is, but Nintendo is publishing it for some reason. I don't know why Square Enix is not publishing it. Maybe it's some deal with Nintendo. I don't know, but Square Enix is making it.
Okay, gotcha. Now that makes sense.
Yeah.
So soon, we'll probably see Final Fantasy Tactics announced around summertime. That's what I get. That's what I figure.
Yeah, maybe at E3, because I know Square Enix always does their own little E3 thing. So maybe
E3 doesn't exist, Taylor. That's why I said around summertime. Okay. So we'll also see Street Fighter 6, which is also going to be announced this year. I just want to see how what they made it look like. They need to make it look like Guilty Gear. Very anime. That would make Street Fighter awesome.
Do
it. All right. So let's we're almost done here, and let's do some questions.
Yeah.
All right. Noah Chaser asks, have you or Taylor ever had a pop-off moment for a game reveal? Something so moving that you either screamed, cried, or both. No judgments. I cried after FF10 and Chrono Trigger. He means a game reveal in a game, not like Final Fantasy VII Remake was announced.
Oh. Probably. I'm trying to think right now. If you've got one, go. But I'm trying to think of one right now.
I have no idea. Right now, I don't think I've ever had really a pop-off moment for a game reveal. I've had a pop-off moment for doing something pretty awesome in a game.
Yeah, for sure. Especially like competitive games, but never like, oh shit. Like never. I will say that I definitely cried at the opening of Final Fantasy VII, like the whole opening, especially when that song kicks in and Aerith is looking all good.
You're talking about the remake?
Yeah. Oh man, that hit hard. Every time I watch that too, it's the song and it's the look. It
goes up and you're just like nostalgia just wells up in you and you just feel it. You feel like you're gonna cry.
Every time I see it, I just can't believe it's real. I'm like, wow, I can't believe we finally got here.
Yeah.
And it's not without its problems, but it was like it's in retrospect, it's great to me. I think it's great, but yeah. I'm trying to think if there are any other like shocking reveals where I was like, oh my god, like big twists.
Okay, so this is not This is not a JRPG, but the prologue of The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, the first one or the second one?
The first one, not the second one. Just throw that away. This is the first one.
Yeah.
The second one doesn't exist.
Yeah, the first one, that was shocking. I was like, oh, this is how we're starting the game. All right.
Very good. Very good.
I guess oh, you know what? I did have a pop-off moment. It was with you, if you remember. And this is like this is the bad ending, so I feel like I can spoil this. But I'll say the bad ending for Persona 4.
Okay, you're actually gonna say it?
I won't say it. You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
The bad ending. And okay, so this is the bad ending, and we didn't know it was the bad ending, and I'm just laying down. And Taylor, how did you react?
I was like, "What? No, no, no!" And I remember I just popped the disc out, and then I just left, and I went home. I was so mad.
Like, what? No, this is not how this ends. No, no.
I'll just say there's a moment where you have to make a choice at the hospital for people that have played the game, and if you make the wrong choice, a bunch of bad stuff happens. I was like, that cannot be how this game ends. There's no way.
What's crazy about that? It's like there's like 4 bad choices and like 1 good choice. So you could get 4. You could get the bad ending and not even know that it's more. You think that's the end of the game because you have to pick. I recently beat Persona 4, right? You have to pick a specific sequence of answers, and I done like one time I did like the right ones and accidentally selected the wrong one, and I still got the bad ending, and I'm like, are you serious? So you have to get the right sequence. Oof.
Crazy.
I don't think I ever had pop-off moments, but if it's a game that's really, really good and it's really memorable for me, when the credit scenes when credits start, you just decompress, and you're just like,
usually some kind of, sentimental piano song.
Yeah, and you're just like, what do I do with myself now? What is there to do? What is life?
I know, it's that moment, the afterglow of a JRPG. You're like, now what do I do?
No. And
especially after a really good one.
It's weird. You know, it's really weird. I got that feeling after I beat Tales of Destiny recently. Because I wanted to get, even though I've beaten it before, I wanted to get through it. I wanted to get a clear save, so I beat it, right? And I was just watching I watched like the end scene, all in English now. The end scene's in English and everything. Everything's in English. I love it. And now that I have that context, seeing the credits is like, oh, damn. This game is so good. It's so good. Especially when you have decades of memories of this game from the remake and the original.
Exactly. It's like that's your Final Fantasy VII.
Yes. You that's what and you did this to me, Taylor. You are the one who got it for Brian's birthday. Mm-hmm. You didn't give him a Final Fantasy game. You got him Tales of Destiny, which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And Grandia, and I don't know why I got
and Grandia,
both of those.
So weird. You didn't give us because we never had Final Fantasy. Never. It was we had Lunar, Tales of Destiny, Grandia. I think those are the JRPGs that I had. I think those are the only ones. Oh, and then I got Tales of Destiny too. I bought those myself. Those are the only ones I had. Oh, Final Fantasy Tactics, of course, but that's not really a JRPG. It's a strategy. But yeah, interesting, right? Me, only having like 5, and I didn't really become a JRPGer until like PS3. Really?
Yeah, and you couldn't have picked a worse generation to become a
but PS3 era. Okay, so it came out in 2006, right? So I graduated in 2008 and I had a job then. So that's when I actually had disposable income, and that's when I started buying all the older games that I missed. So that's when I started playing all the old games. Though that era was like survival horror. Nick. It's when I play all the survival horror games.
That's right. The Thing, Silent Hill,
Dead Space.
Oh yeah.
I can't believe the original Dead Space came out when I graduated.
Pretty old.
Well, they're remaking it. All right. Shaft asks, just had a friend that finished playing Tales of Arise and he wanted to try another game in the series. Which one do you guys recommend for people to play after Arise? See, this is a hard question. This is a very difficult question because Arise is completely different. Not really completely different. It's very different gameplay-wise than the other ones.
Yeah. Totally.
So if you go backwards, you're going to get an older style of Tales.
I don't even have a good answer because I don't really like most of the modern ones, frankly. So, yeah, I don't have a good answer, really.
Yeah, so Tales of Graces, and then past that, they all play very similar. They all have, the battle systems, there are differences, but they all are very similar. Except Graces has the combo counter system from Tales of Destiny Remake, which is cool. But it also has the normal attacks have a combo, have a special art, and then the B attacks have a special art. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
Xillia and Xillia 2 are different though. They're a little more classic. It's just hard to what I would say is just start from the beginning. Every time someone asks me, "What I want to play a Tales game, where should I start?" I would always say, "Start at Tales of Destiny," because that's the original English only one, guys. That's why. And it's really hard to get Tales of Destiny because it's like $300, $500, $600, $700 to get. Get it, whatever you want, however you get it. I don't care. I'm not gonna encourage you to pirate it. Just if you want to play the original Tales, even play the original Tales of Fantasia, the PS1 English patched version. That's a good one to start with too.
Yep.
And then just go on through there. Because you'll notice, like in my humble opinion, you all know this, the 2D ones aged way better than 3D ones, or the middle ones, the Tales of Symphonia, the Tales of Abyss, the Tales of Vesperia. Those ones have not aged very well. So it's hard. It's really hard to recommend Tales games.
Yeah. If I had to recommend one, and I feel weird even saying this because I remember at the time I didn't like it very much, but Tales of Xillia 2, it has a really weird progression system. Like the way you progress, you have to like get money to pay off your debt, and then you can get to the next story beat. But like the story is really interesting, and I love the combat system because you can swap to different weapons on the fly, and then he's got sort of a Super Saiyan mode, like a powered up mode. But yeah, they're all, like none of them play like Arise. Arise is like very, very different. So
I could tell you that there are a lot of them that have a way better story than Arise. A lot of them have a better story than Arise, but the gameplay flow, the battle system, and the gameplay flow is completely different. Yeah. It's most of them are very more forgiving when it comes to items and healing.
Yeah, and money.
And money, yeah. If you want, just ask me a more specific question. Just not a vague which Tales games you would want that you would recommend. To me, what did you like about Tales of Arise? What do you want more of? What was the most thing you enjoyed? Story, gameplay. Do you want a bigger world? Do you want a bigger lore? Do you want specific lore like phonons and phonic arts and when they make up their own magic system, stuff like that.
Yep.
Something that Taylor does not like.
Yeah.
A narrative gatekeeper actually asked a question that's also based off the Tales series. All right. So the Tales series is a JRPG series that flew under my radar until I started listening to the podcast, and then recently started Tales of Arise. As of writing this, I am halfway through the game. Something I noticed pretty quick when looking into the series is that there is a diversity of opinions over which games in the series are best. Major franchises like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest seem to have a pretty strong fan consensus in the West over which games are best, but with Tales, everyone seems to have a different favorite. Have you noticed this? If so, why do you think that is? Because if it's not the original 2D ones, they're wrong, and everyone else's answers, just as a, wrong opinion. But before I actually answer, I want to ask Taylor. I want to Taylor the pitch in on this.
Why there's not a consensus on which Tales game is the best?
There is a consensus, and I know why, but I want you.
Well, everybody likes. I think the most popular. I mean, I think now the most popular is Arise, but before that, it was probably Tales of Symphonia, and I would say, I don't know. As I look back on all the Tales games, and I don't even know if this is really answering the question at all, but as I look back on the Tales games, I feel like the quality, it's been a little up and down, but it's never been like super high.
Meteoric.
And so, yeah. I don't think it's ever hit the highs of like Persona or Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest. I think Arise is the first time it's really got anywhere close.
The sad thing is that the highs were all in Japan. We never got the good ones until, now they're, worldwide releases. But before, all the good games were only Japan. Or all the ones that were rated high, like a lot of people liked them, were only in Japan. Because the other games are good. They're just not like mind-blowing good. Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's it. Yeah, there's none of them have really. None of them really have big standout like when you think of like moments, right? Like when you think of moments in games, you think of like Aerith and Final Fantasy VII. Obviously, there's a lot of big memorable moments in Final Fantasy VII. There's a lot of memorable moments in Persona 4 and 5. I feel like the Tales series has very few, if any, like memorable moments. It's just sort of like you go from one place to the next, and then you fight, and then there's a dungeon, and you go to another place, and then it's just formulaic, but it never like has moments, if that makes sense. And I don't even think, there were some in Arise, but I think in the past there just hasn't been those that make it memorable. If that would you agree with that at all?
No.
No. Okay. Which one would stand out to you? I'm pretty sure. Games?
I can't say it because it's spoilers, but more recently, there haven't been many. I could tell you that. You could the ones that you've been playing.
Yeah.
There are some really memorable moments in the older ones. Berseria has pretty memorable moments, especially at the beginning, or when you figure out what things happen.
Yeah,
I don't know if you beat the game.
No, I got bored. I played like maybe 5 hours and then I just got bored.
Yeah.
But okay, I played the beginning.
You don't know. Yeah, there is like the beginning is very memorable, but then learning about what's happening in the world is also memorable. I really enjoyed learning what is going on, and especially seeing the connections with Zestiria. Like the ending to Berseria was a mind blower to me. Like I was like, whoa, okay, that's what that is. Oh, I get it now. What happened to him? I want to know what happened. I just kind of gave it away, but like that is a cool thing. That's memorable. It's just like you have to. No, not really. I'm just saying the ones that you haven't played, the Japanese ones have really good story moments. And to answer the question about that he asked, so in the PS1 era, there was Tales of Destiny and Tales of Destiny 2, which wasn't the real Tales of Destiny 2, it was Tales of Eternia. People didn't know about that because they were pixel games, and Tales of Destiny 1 released right next to Final Fantasy 7. which one got the fanfare? Final Fantasy 7 because it was so mind blowing. It was 3D, very epic, and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
The reason why Tales of Symphonia was so popular is because it was a big JRPG on the GameCube. It was the big English JRPG on the GameCube, and everyone who had a GameCube somehow had this game. I have no idea how, but they did. And that is why people love that game to death, because it was their first game as a child. And it's very nostalgic.
Yeah.
And people just ignored it, or ignored the series after that, because there was Tales of the Abyss and Tales of Legendia, and that's what we got in the West in the PS2. And there was no other, right? Yeah. And no one played until the next popular one, which is Tales of Vesperia, which is why a lot of people think Tales of Vesperia is one of the best games, because it was one of the only JRPGs to be released on the Xbox 360, and it was huge. Or I should say, in the early 7th generation, and which is why everyone flocked to that, because 360 was so popular. So that got a big following. And now Arise, because no one really had a PS3, or no one really played JRPGs on PS3s, and we had all those PS3 JRPGs. And then Tales of Vesperia kind of put a stain on the franchise, because it was, as I call it, the Sonic 06 of the series, because it had huge ambitions, and I saw those ambitions, but it was rushed. And it was really incomplete, and you could totally see that in the game. But I enjoyed the game a lot, even though there were a lot of flaws in it. I enjoyed the story. And then if you play the game and then watch the anime and you're like, man, this is what they were going for, I really wish they would remake it.
Yep.
So
yeah,
it's the series. The series is just all over the place. But I really wish, now that I've played it, I really wish Arise did not have the huge popularity boost, because now everyone wants the games to be like Arise, which I do not want. I do not want that. I do not want that at all. And I'm not talking.
I do want that very much. I want it all.
I don't want the very limited economy items things. I don't want the very small world, and I do miss the anime aesthetic and the menus and stuff. I miss that. I really do miss that. Other than that, the game's fun, and I miss towns. There's like one town in that game that's actually useful. You know I'm right.
No, I mean, agree to disagree.
But yeah, that is you got my opinion on why things are so. I called them the big three back in the day. Tales of it was always Tales of Symphonia, Tales of the Abyss, and Tales of Vesperia. That's all anyone ever thought about when it came to the series. And I was always mad because there's all these other games that no one has ever played. It's like, these games are like, 100 times better, in my opinion, than what you're playing. So,
yep.
If you guys have any questions about Tales, specific questions, not general questions, go ahead and ask. I will answer them for you, but I will not spoil anything. Have anything else to add, Taylor? That's the last question.
No, that's it was good direct. Lots of exciting stuff to look forward to. The year is quickly filling up, like you said. There's I'm like, oh, when am I gonna play this month? Oh God, it's full. And then March is gonna be insane. So many games coming out in March. Oh my God.
This was the first direct and like video game conference thing in a while that's actually made me happy.
Yep.
And actually like ooh, these are games I'm actually interested in, instead of, here's indie game 5,392 that looks exactly the same as the others. And here's Sony exclusive number 7. Ah, a third-person action game. Oh, I haven't seen that before.
Wow, a JRPG with turn-based combat. Who would have guessed?
That's actually rare, dude. It's very rare. Hey, Xbox bought a company. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. No, I hear you though. No, I agree. It was one of the better conference things in a long time. So that was exciting to watch.
Yep. Very much so. Anywho, thanks for watching, guys. Sorry we've been, not on schedule all that much. We're trying, or my schedule is finally freeing up, and so hopefully that means more frequent episodes. So, and especially guests. We're gonna try to get some guests on. So Taylor, plug your YouTube and everything you got going.
Yeah. No. It's the Gaming Shelf on YouTube. Just put out a review for Maglum Lord and the Japanese role-playing games. It's this tome of a book. So put out a couple of reviews. I'll probably have some sort of reaction to this direct on my channel too. But
that's why you were in a voice chat.
Yeah, I didn't. I was just working. I didn't record anything yet. I don't know if I have it in me to do something tonight, but I'm gonna try. And then other reviews coming. I'm playing a game right now for review that I think the embargo's next week, so it'll be interesting.
Indeed. And I am still working on that video that I posted on the YouTube. It's just the last 2 weeks have been kind of iffy. I was playing Chrono Trigger just so I could test it out to see that it actually is one of the games of good beginner JRPG, and I just started playing the entire thing.
Nice.
But I found my list, so that's good, and I'm just gonna have to write about it. So hopefully. Trying to make it as best. I'm a perfectionist, and that's why I don't never really release videos, because I never feel like they're good enough. And so I'm trying. I'm gonna try to get it out by the end of this month. So, and I said that last month, but for sure this month. All right.
Do it. No excuses.
Yeah, no excuses. Anywho, see you guys next episode.
Later.
Later.